mama Afrika, Afrika, tusonga mbele mama Afrika, Afrika,
young men and women, with the pillars, with the future, here we are, let's join together, with ability to change communities, with love, with peace, to respond to our need, to call for unity. Africa, hear me cry, never leave me alone, as I see light in a brighter future, let's join hands for youth and women, let's join hands for youth and women.
Vijana kutoka mashariki, magharibi, kaskazini na kusini, hata na kati, twaja pamoja ili tufanye nini?
Tusonga mbele mama Afrika, Afrika, tusonga mbele mama Afrika, Afrika,
Honorable Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa, distinguished East African leaders, ladies and gentlemen, our dear youth, good afternoon. It's impossible to create a better world without bettering the lot of women. The world cannot be a better place if women's conditions are not better in it, wrote Tajuddin Abdul Rahim, and may his soul rest in peace. While these words were penned in 2006, they still resonate now despite our country's advances of the past 15 years in granting women equal status, equal opportunities, and equal protection under the law. Perhaps the greatest indicator of how much further our fight must take us is the fact that discussions on female equality are still being held, and justifiably so. And still in view of the cultivation and employment of female potential that must be achieved to reach our 2063 development goals, greater efforts must be invested.
Muhimu tunahitaji kujituma, kujitoa, uadilifu, uaminifu ili kulijenga taifa aminifu. Na hasa vijana mnaposhiriki kwenye matukio mbalimbali ya uzalishaji mali, wale wazee wenye umri wa kati waendelee kuwa na matumaini makubwa na vijana ambao ndio wenyewe hapa.
Today I'm joined by my fellow co-moderator.
My name is Eric and I'll be co-moderating with Diana on this Gender Equality Forum.
Yes.
We are very excited to have you participating here with us and taking part in this engagement.
Actually, we need support because it is not very easy, especially the younger you are, the more difficult it is for you to even get into these spaces.
Introduce our next speaker, who is Laura Bass. Okay.
Yes.
So Laura, as the Dutch Youth Ambassador for SRHR and Bodily Autonomy, how can we support you by connecting with youth from across Africa to ensure broader outreach and impact?
The best way to help me is to make sure that young people can participate actively in society. My name is Laura Bas. I'm 25 years old and I'm the Youth Ambassador for Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights, Bodily Autonomy and Gender Equality within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In one sentence, my job is to make sure that the voices and needs of young people from all around the world are represented in the policies that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs make.
Do you think climate justice component is strong within the Action Coalition's commitments?
When we talk about, for example, why Africa is going to be hit the hardest by the crisis, we must acknowledge why that is. So this requires us to address legacies of colonialism, imperialism, neoliberal capitalism, and how these manifest and affect our ability as African people to self-determine in these economic global systems that are built on hierarchies and that centers profit over people.
So from your perspective as a young woman, how do you think we can organize ourselves to position young women at the front line for the Action Coalition's agenda?
First and foremost, young women can start by popularizing the commitments that were made during the Generation Equality Forum. If given a chance, young women are definitely able to come up with very innovative ideas that would aid the government in rolling out and advancing the implementation of the commitments in their communities.
Times are changing, and Africa is now the world's youngest continent.
Africa is the youngest continent. Majority of the population are under 35.
What are we doing about the youth? Because the youth constitute one of the important pillars that we're focused on.
Let me say the youth are not only the future of this region, but I believe we are the present and future.
If we define what do we mean by young people, there is this external perception that young people are a homogeneous group. This is not the reality. We have also young people in vulnerable settings. We have young people with disabilities, and we have foremost young women.
But again, a population that is ill-skilled and unemployed can be a demographic curse. So this is the challenge, but the opportunity is in us trying to convert this demographic dividend into opportunities.
But also young people as being the largest population, they are our biggest asset.
Because the richness of nations is not in stones, but in its people.
It's never been more important to develop our youth into confident and transformational leaders that can navigate Africa through the incoming economic and political climates. Africa's youth are faced with growing concerns about how to thrive in their purpose, and that's where You Lead Africa comes in. Founded in 2017, we are Africa's flagship youth leadership program, following the youth's greater demands and expanding our work from the East African community to the continent.
There are many challenges facing young people on the African continent. The biggest one of them is that each and every one of the young people in Africa have the desire to become a leader. I think investments should be made more to build the capacity of young people in Africa to become effective leaders.
Under globalization, the world is small. The whole world outside there has skills. We need to equip our youth with requisite skills so that they participate properly, even in global interaction.
And this means that we need to do more to create economic opportunities and work opportunities for young people.
ULEAD for me represents that opportunity for young people to first of all think about their problems collectively and then develop, if it be disruptive strategies to take action on addressing those challenges.
The summit is not just a 3 days or 4 or 5 days event for young people to come and chit-chat and go home. Whatever they are saying is influencing our one-year work, what we call the post-summit agenda.
With now more than 10,000 alumni and over 30 partners, and active partner-led work in all 5 major African regions, a One Young Africa is our vision.
We have a great vision. We're envisioning 150 delegates in person, 20,000 virtually, but this is not, to me, the only success indicator. The success indicator is ensuring that all these 20,000 young people virtually provide inputs and meaningfully engage throughout the conversation, and all their suggestions are then incorporated into our post-summit agenda.
Look at 2017, just East Africa coming together, and now thousands of African young people.
ULEAD Summit 2021. We are proud to announce that we are going continental, coming together as a One Young Africa.
And we want actually to break the borders. The CFTA is here. We want African young people to come together under ULEAD Summit platform, trade together across the borders, innovate together across the borders, and create jobs as well as prosper together.
That's what drove us to become, One Young Africa. We have the potential and the capacity to do so.
From 8th to 12th November 2021, we are hosting Africa's largest hybrid summer ever with ULEAD Africa's patron, His Excellency Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, former President of Tanzania as Chief Convener, and Honorable Dr. Peter Matuki, the EAC Secretary General as co-convener. The theme is The Future of Africa, creating jobs, feeding and housing the world's youngest continent.
I call upon policymakers, development partners, the private sector, media, civil society, and other stakeholders to be part of and support the East African community in convening this year's ULEAD Summit.
It will attract participation from all the partner states of the EAC and indeed the continent. I thank you. Asanteni sana. See you in Arusha. Tujenge vijana wetu.
Since 2017, ULEAD Summit, as popularly known, is jointly convened annually by the East African Community and MS Training Center for Development Cooperation in Arusha, Tanzania, in collaboration with a myriad of partners.
COVID-19 is both a blessing and a curse, equally.
We have seen how the COVID pandemic has hit very hard young people.
And this is why ULEAD Africa will bring together more than 15,000 people on a single platform, because travel is restricted, but more people come together through the internet, courtesy of COVID-19.
We are welcoming a virtual and physical audience from all African countries together on the same platform.
Nonetheless, COVID-19 has reduced the opportunities for young people. Young people have lost jobs, and COVID-19 pushes us beyond the boundary to innovate and create jobs that we have lost using COVID-friendly mechanisms such as online platforms, as well as increased cooperation between and among young people across the borders, especially under the CFTA, which regards that trade should happen beyond borders of any country.
The 2021 summit will be delivered in the form of thematic forums, the Under 40 Political Leaders Forum, which exemplifies
Hey, sorry for that, a bit of a lag there. Welcome everybody to this evening's Africa Unplugged live session. We are very glad that you have chosen to spend this evening, or maybe it's the afternoon for you, with us. My name is Fiona Kemegesha and I'm your host this evening. I'll be moderating our session. We have some really special guests this evening from the Lead Her Fellowship. If you don't know what that is, you will definitely learn a little bit more about it today, or maybe more than a little. Once again, thank you for joining us, guys. And wherever you're watching from, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, we are streaming live on a couple of different platforms. Please go ahead and tell us your name and where you're watching from, what you do in the comment section. Whichever comment section you use, I will be able to see them here. We'd love to see who's joining us and just shout you out and say hi. So let's jump right into today's episode. Today's episode is actually we're kind of having it as an introduction as well of the Lead Her Fellowship, which is a very special initiative, which you're going to hear a little bit more about. So I think let's start on that note so that you guys know what the Lead Her Fellowship is all about. But perhaps I'm going to let my guests go first, just to let you guys know who's going to be joining us this evening. And then we'll have like a quick introduction into who the Lead Her Fellowship are, and then we can jump into the conversation on elevating women in leadership, which is a topic that we are very passionate about. The Gender Equality Forum is something we have every year. A space to magnify the needs of different women in different demographics across the continent. So let me start by letting our guests each introduce themselves. In maybe a minute or so. I'm just going to go in the order that I'm seeing you ladies here on my screen. So let me start with Natasha. Natasha, please go ahead and maybe put on your camera and introduce yourself. Okay, somebody says they can't hear me. Can you guys let me know in the comments if you can hear me? I see somebody says they can't hear me. Just want to make sure that it's maybe just her. Diana, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you this side.
Okay, I think probably Natasha is having a bit of an issue. So let me let you start. Natasha, maybe you could try exiting and coming back. So let me start with you, Diana. Please introduce yourself to our audience on Unplugged. Welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. It is quite an honor. Good evening, Africa. This is Malbani Pok. I am from Lesotho in the southern region of Africa, and I'm a 21-year-old young female, very passionate and determined about leadership and governance. And it has been a great honor to start this journey of the Lead Her Fellowship by the U-led Africa. Right now, I am the assistant director in the Transform Lesotho initiative, and a graduate in the program of Bachelor of Arts in Urban and Regional Planning at the National University of Lesotho. Thank you very much. I think
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that introduction, Diana. We love to see young people taking up some space. So it's always really exciting to hear 21-year-olds. Some of us are in the the later bracket of youth, so it's always amazing for us to see really young people taking up some space and unafraid to to say something, to have something to say and say it boldly. So thank you so much for joining us. I think two of our other guests are still having a bit of a connection issue, but hopefully they'll be able to join us as well. But maybe as we wait for them to join us, or let me say hi to Blaze Ndaishemeze. Thank you for joining us, Blaze. Guys, please let us know. Get into the comment section and let us know your name and where you're watching from so we can say hi and connect with you. So as we wait for our other two guests to try and get into... All right, I see Natasha is here. Hopefully you can hear us.
Hello.
Natasha, can you hear?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So maybe you could take a minute or two and just introduce yourself a little bit to our audience. Let us know a little bit about who Natasha is. Welcome.
My name is Natasha Batshabachuye, and I'm from Zambia. And
am a chef too by profession, and I'm a law student too. And I'm really excited to be here to share what I know and to also learn more. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. If you guys are like me, you get excited when people say they can cook, because some of us cannot cook for nothing. We can't do anything, okay? But welcome and thank you so much for taking the time to join us for the Unplugged session. I think our third guest is still unable to join for now, but hopefully she'll join us. But in the meantime, we have one of the fellows with us as well, Preta Namasawa. Welcome, Preta. She's going to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about the Lead Her Fellowship that we keep talking about. So welcome, Preta. Please go ahead. Okay. Preta, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can I be heard?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, my name is Presa Namasaba. I'm a law student at Makerere University, and I am a Lead Fellow. So the Lead Her Fellowship is a flagship program by Plan International and NISA. Lead Her stands for the term she is a leader, and the fellowship is about supporting young women in Africa, nurturing their skills, expertise, and aspirations, especially in the fields of politics, economics, business, peace, and security. The fellowship aims to provide a safe space for young women who haven't been exposed much to regional or international opportunities, while amplifying their impact at local and grassroots levels. So this fellowship that are like-minded young women from countries in Eastern and Southern Africa, so that they can develop their skills and grow their leadership capacity.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That was a really great introduction. For those of us who may not be familiar with the Lead Her Fellowship, and these ladies are just a few of the first members, or a few of the members of the first cohort of the Lead Her Fellowship. So we are very, very excited to have them with us. As one of ULEAD Africa is one of the conveners of the Lead Her Fellowship, so we are really excited to just have them with us and have a conversation and really get to know them a little bit better. They're all really young women, really taking up some space in their respective fields, very diverse fields as well, which is really impressive. We love to see that, and we hope that them sharing with us is also something you can benefit from, you can learn from, and I hope that we can also learn from you guys. So definitely feel free to leave also comments, questions in our comment section, because at the very end we'll have a little session where you can put out your comment or your question. So please feel free to be absolutely engaged. Just in case you've never been here, the Unplugged space is very relaxed. We like to keep it not too webinar style, okay? So please feel free to just be in the comment section chatting, and I'll come over there and keep shouting you out as well and reading your comments. I see Victor is with us. Hi, Victor. And Mosali, who I believe, if I am wrong, I think that flag is Lesotho, maybe, or maybe I'm wrong. Okay, I see. Great. So I'm going to just get us into our conversation this evening, which is about elevating women in leadership. So women's leadership is not a new thing in Africa or in the world at large. Throughout history, women have been problem solvers, have even led militaries in the pre-colonial period, have been freedom fighters, led independence movements, been transitional leaders, and led communities and countries through some of the worst economic, political, and health crisis of the 21st century. So moving forward, it is so important for us to continue to harness women's knowledge and skill and talent at all levels, and really reclaim those spaces that we may have had and don't have now, or spaces we've never really taken up, that we now have the potential and capacity to really impact. So in that spirit, in the spirit of that, and indeed in the spirit of the Lead Her Fellowship as well, we're having this conversation about elevating women in leadership, and that is really across all the board. So I'm going to just get into entrepreneurship first. Natasha just shared with us that she is a chef. She's a business owner. I'm going to let me just make sure we still have her with us. Okay, great. She's still here, and she's a business owner. So I want to chat a little bit about women leading those spaces in entrepreneurship. So Natasha, my question is, what do you feel as a woman who has started her own business and has some experience in the entrepreneurship space? What do you feel can be done to promote women entrepreneurs advancement? You could be talking about your own community, or maybe even you have ideas about the continent at large, but just share with us your thoughts on what you think could be done to really advance women in those spaces.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. And I'd like to start with, there's actually a lot I think that can be done to help and encourage women in the one being financial support and funding. Women have amazing and great ideas to start up businesses, and to be in the really limits them is funding and empowerment. I think it also faced personally when I started, because this is like, for me to just start, I had to start and stop. I think this is like my fourth time, and I think it was really a process to get there. And the biggest factor that I actually experienced was funding and empowerment. I think that's the first thing that to help us elevate our businesses and to be make it. Secondly, I feel mentorship. That hurt, and you didn't know what to do because there's no one to guide you or to tell you how certain things should, or the times where business is not going okay, because being an entrepreneur is not really easy. If I feel like giving, because business is hard, or you don't have enough clients to meet your day, or your business is just not, your profits rather are not sustaining your business, and power in giving up. So I feel mentorship also is something that we need as entrepreneurs. The third thing that I think we need would be most likely classes or guidance in terms of how administrative factors, if they can be teaching us that, because I feel like we women are really grasping knowledge, and in terms of resources, we have been limited. We can have maybe based on our society, because of beliefs, norms. It's really hard for women to access certain information. It's really hard.
Okay, I think we had a bit of there was a moment there where the internet was doing something, but no worries. I think we all know that internet sometimes will humble us. But if you are okay to go ahead, you can go ahead. I think we'll be able to hear you. Okay. I think we have a bit of a freeze issue there. So let me just let Natasha just have a minute to try and probably reconnect. Sorry guys, sometimes this happens. The internet the internet will humble you some days. It will humble you some days, but it's all right. We're going to carry on the conversation, and I like that she brought up the issue of mentorship, which is something so primary in making spaces conducive for not just women, even young people as a whole to to have the skills, to have what they actually, the on the ground needs and knowledge in order to venture into spaces like entrepreneurship. And she talked about starting over, multiple times, which speaks to not just the endurance you need, but also the need of so many young people for financial support. And especially when we talk about young women, we talk about youth, there's such a need there for that type of support in order to grow. So, and we like to put out those opportunities as well. So it's good to just like keep glued and see what kind of opportunities are coming up. And just maybe this would be a good point also just to say, we have the summit coming up, and with the summit in December is the Youth Enterprise Accelerator Awards, which is also another opportunity for young entrepreneurs to, get some seed capital, benefit from some amazing mentors. So do stay tuned on our different platforms to find out about these different opportunities so that you don't miss out when they come about. I know Natasha is trying to reconnect, but as we wait for her to come on board, let me ask a question to Diana as well. And I just want to talk about affirmative action and the role that it plays in elevating women in leadership. Why do you feel like affirmative action is so important? And I think that even as we talk about affirmative action, it kind of brings up the aspect of feminism itself as a movement. Why is feminism, why is affirmative action? Because I feel like somehow those two things go together. Why do those things matter, and what role do they play in elevating women, in elevating young girls ultimately, who we are trying to grow into leaders? Please go ahead, Diana.
I'm muted. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the lovely question. I must say, for the longest time in Africa, we have always had a gap, or rather misrepresentation, of women in public spaces. And over the years, that has seemed to be changing, which is good. So when we talk about affirmative action, we must say yes. To a certain extent, it has done good for us as women, for us as girls, or for anyone that identifies themselves as women in Africa, because they managed to break, or rather bridge the gap of misrepresentation, or having less women participating in that field. For example, we have STEM industries, we have politics in general, being the parliament, being the ministries, wherever. We have always had that misrepresentation of women. And I must say that affirmative action did help for a certain extent. It actually broke the gap, or rather bridged the gap that was there, because some of those environments are not very much conducive for women to actually break through. So they really need affirmative action for that. But then again, I really don't think it's enough. I don't think affirmative action is enough, because as much as there are policies or legal documents that speak for women participation, that speak for inclusion, you see quite a number of women still holding back and not participating. So I could say that there's still a gap. So I don't think affirmative action alone is enough. So I believe there should be something supplementing, probably quotas, or rather other programs like the mentorship programs, the fellowships, even civil education in schools from primary level, secondary, and in our institutions. It is very, very necessary that a girl child receives civil education at a very young age so that it grooms her to be the leader of tomorrow. So not just affirmative action is enough in elevating women in leadership. For example, we could look at Rwanda. Rwanda right now just established this gender monitoring bodies that actually are intended to focus on women participation in all fields, make participating in politics, industries, for any kind of development in a country. So this strategy has been very, if we had to use it in all our countries in Africa, there would be quite a difference when it comes to bridging the gap of misrepresentation and having women holding back when it comes to this public spaces.
All right, thanks, Diana. Sorry, there's sometimes a bit of a lag, so you'll finish talking, then we hear it just a moment after. But thank you so much for sharing that, and I think it's so important that you pointed out just how, while it is it is impactful in its own way, it's not enough. Affirmative action in itself is not enough to propel the kind of numbers we want to see. You know, that kind of space where women have just as many opportunities as men, you know, that we have just as many opportunities to take up leadership spaces in different fields, you know, not just fields that are traditionally female, that we can be able to take up any field, you know, and do it well and be enabled and have conducive environments for that. Okay, I see that also Natasha was able to come back, which is great. And I also see that Lesotho is repping really hard in the comment section. We see you guys. I see you, Mosali, Mark, Gray's Beauty Court, and I see Ivan also tuning in from Arusha. Thank you, guys. And as we say in East Africa, Karibu Sana, you are welcome to this space. We're just having a chat with the Lead Her Fellowship on elevating women in leadership. So I think that I'm just going to ask Preta to check in with our third guest. I think I'm not sure if she'll be able to join us, but we are going to carry on the conversation all the same. Hopefully she'll be able to join us at some point. But let me go back to you, Natasha. I know we cut you got cut off a bit there with the internet. Sorry about that. But we are glad you're back. And maybe let me first let you finish. I feel like it sort of cut you off when you were in the middle of something important there. So you can maybe go ahead and just pick up on what you were sharing about what can be done to promote women entrepreneurs' advancement.
Hi, thank you today. So I think I was cut short on that where I was talking about let's see. I was talking about the factors actually on. I talked about empowerment, just to take us back a bit. I talked about women. I was talking about training actually. Yes, business training. I feel we need some knowledge on business training, on how to run a business, how to be an entrepreneur, take up when they come to path. Because I feel for the longest of time, you know, cultures, norms that certain traditions in our countries that have been on the table, but below the table because we've been limited to how much or what we can access. And it's only now that a few of us are starting to certain things that would be believed to be what we should be. For example, that says a woman's place is in the kitchen, you know. So it's that thing where a girl child is seen to only run a home and stay in the kitchen and cannot run a business in other school. And it's only now that we're having women even being in parliament, we're having in the government and whatnot. So I feel we also need some training, motivation to get out of these systems. And I think the last point that entrepreneurs or feminine entrepreneurs need to empower, so elevate us in self-motivation, self-reflection, getting rid of what we thought was new, and breaking the limitations that we feel we should be in or what we should have because I'm female, or I cannot do this because I am female, motivation, and to break out of the cycle that makes us believe that a woman's place is in the kitchen. Gender equality is very important because for the longest of time, males are like opportunities in the business world, unlike us women. So I feel it's hard time we had gender equality in the sector that can accommodate both male and female, so we are able to break through and all the males are given. For example, empowerment. Investors, organizations would rather fail than a female because of the belief systems or because they just feel of running a business. So I feel those are certain factors that we need to look into business sector so it's accommodative for us too. Yes, I think I'm done.
All right, thank you so much, Natasha, for sharing that. For sure, mentoring and that encouragement is very important, that reiteration of certain things. I think some things can never be said enough. The more we say them, I think the more they have like a solid base in who we are and the kind of women that we are trying to raise for the future, those types of leaders. So for sure, conversations like this and just like spaces where women can be constantly affirmed and just like show that these different spaces are ripe are ripe for us to also go in and take over and really make a mark as well. So let me just, okay, I just want to say in the comments, I see you guys. Lesotho is really repping, okay? We see you, Grace, we see you. I see you saying hi to Diana. So Diana, Grace says hi. All right, so let me go back to Diana actually. So actually, it's great because Natasha sort of sort of guided us into this next question on gender equality, gender parity. I think like what I'd like is just for you to share with us your thoughts, because I feel like it's such a broad topic as well, but just like within the context of women becoming leaders, raising girls to become leaders. What are your thoughts on the role of the gender equality movement, and what that means for the generation that's coming up now? I would say I guess your generation, because you guys are Gen Z, right? So yeah, go ahead and share with us your thoughts on that.
For that question, I might say it is quite tricky because the two of them are a bit similar, being that we're talking about gender parity or gender equality. But just then what it's all about having equal opportunities, having equal rights, or um, having equal opportunities of participation, health, of everything, of the two genders, being male and female, because we have always struggled as women, where we found ourselves not included, which has left us to be discriminated or being um, less included, and this has caused the gender in our societies. So, for this movement of gender equality, uh, it means, or rather, it focuses more on having equal opportunities for the both genders. So, for me, yes, I definitely support it because I believe that the two genders should have equal opportunities. A girl child should be in school. A girl child should be a CEO. A girl child should be there in leadership and decision making. There should be women in parliament. There should be women leading big, strongly the movements for gender equality. Uh, could do as good as women in Africa.
Okay, we seem to have lost sound a bit there, but oh no, perhaps you are done. I think it cut you off just before you were saying the last thing. But thank you, Diana, and I think that we can definitely. I think most of us can agree that the gender equality movement is vital and has been ever since it started in bringing us to where we are today, and at this moment taking us further. To really breaking those ceilings. I mean, we've come a long way, but there's still so much more to be done, and so the movement needs to exist for those things to happen. And I okay, I thought we had lost you, Natasha, again, but I see you're still here. So going back to entrepreneurship, women operate, this is just a little fact, so that women operate over 40% of small and medium scale enterprises in Africa. What do you think is the effect of our social cultural norms on that financing gap? Because I know you talked a little bit about we need financing, right? You talked about starting, one, two, three, four times, which is something, to be fair, even when we make that demographic a little larger and look at youth in general, there's a gap there. But when we go back now to women alone, what do you think that the effect of our social cultural norms is on that financing gap for women? And what are your thoughts as well on how that can be tackled? Natasha?
Okay. Thank you again for the opportunity. I think that the effects actually social and cultural norms. Actually, the first thing again is coming back to the lack of empowerment, which is the inability to, because of our cultural and social norms, it's really made it difficult for us women fans, as I said, because investors and certain companies, including our own government, fund the men and like the women. So that's the effect that I can actually point out is the discrimination in the business world. Because I have experienced a lot of discrimination because I'm female and also maybe because of my age. The discrimination actually does both parties, from fellow females and from males. And doing your work and your business, for example, I do food delivery. I deliver each day, in the setup, in the business setup. So I've experienced a lot of discrimination. People always assume this is a young girl who's running a business. There's probably funding her business in terms of she's sleeping with somebody to have her business run, funding her in order to have her business run. Because they do not believe that a female is able to run a business. Always have to attach the success of a young female to a. One of the discriminations that we actually experience as not all forget comes with it, because you're a female, they assume you need you in order for your business to keep going, offer sexual favors, keep support. I've experienced a few cases of not only discrimination but also that's also one of the effects of this, and actually point out is it gives me personally, like, it really does make female entrepreneurs just this thing because they feel I can't do this anymore because of experiencing from the lack of funding, the discrimination. It makes you lose the courage or the motivation to keep going on in the business, lack confidence in the business world, and then it actually makes you just say, I did, because you feel like you're not giving, or you're not being given a platform to the business world. So I think those are some of the effects that we have personally come to see in this world, and I'm hoping these things change, can be done. Going now to what I feel can be done or tackled. So the first thing that we need is the government or other institutions in the world at large to come together and
Sorry, Natasha, I think we're losing you. Natasha? We are losing you. We can't quite hear you. It's breaking a lot. Okay, yeah, I think it's actually frozen there. Sorry, but you could try either refreshing or exiting and coming back. Sorry about that. When you come back, then you can probably pick up on that train of thought that we just lost you on. Yeah, hopefully we can get you back on that. But she was sharing something really great on the entrepreneurship space and her own experiences as a young woman starting her own business. And I think something that always stands out for me, I mean, among other things, is when I hear that, in a space, in a time when we are just trying to elevate women in these different spaces, I think one of our strongest tools is for sure, oh, sorry, Natasha, I think we lost you for a while there. We lost you for a while there. But you could okay, try saying something. Let's just see if we can hear you properly.
Can you get me?
Okay. Okay, yeah, I think we can hear you a little bit better now. I see your bars are changing a bit. Let me just give me just a second. Okay, I think we've lost you again. All right, we're going to keep trying. We're going to keep trying to get her back. It seems the internet is trying to play us, but we shall get her back, I think. But let me just finish this train of thought, and then we can come right back to you. I see it's Okay, I see our connection is a little bit better now. It's a little bit back and forth. All right, but I was just saying that one of our strongest tools in this movement is solidarity, it's unity, it's knowing that you will go into a space where there are other women and they'll be uplifting as well as you also uplift them. So it's always for me it's, and I think for many of us it's a difficult thing to hear that women are pulling other women down, or maybe are, you know, like, I think even if you're just one person, you know, it takes us just a tiny step back. And so it's something to be mindful of always, you know, that in the spaces that you are occupying, are you actively practicing what you preach? Are you uplifting the women around you, even as we try to create a community as a whole that's more accepting, more open to allowing women to occupy certain spaces. But I'm hoping that now we can hear Natasha a little bit better. Natasha, let's try again. I see the connection is a little bit poor. Our connection is a little poor at the moment, but could you try to say something so we can see if we can hear you? Okay, all right. I think she will be back. I think she had to first drop and then she'll return. I see we also lost Preta. I wanted to give her an opportunity to say something as well. But we are getting into the last couple of minutes of our hour. We do like to keep it a bit short and sweet here on Unplugged. So I'm going to just turn over back to Diana and allow you to just share like your parting thoughts on what you see and what you hope for in the future as we try to nurture women who are going to really take up spaces in leadership. What are you hoping to see? What are you hoping to see? And I think it should also be a great opportunity to just hear a little bit about maybe what you do in your space that contributes to that, you know, to the movement. So yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you once again. Well, it has always been my dream to have an Africa where women stand firmly in decision making, where women actually contribute to the social, political, and economic development of their countries. And with this momentum, or rather the strategies that we are using now of empowering young girls, of mentoring and giving them skills to actually groom them to be future leaders. This really shows that in the future we will indeed have those kind of women who are able to participate in decision making, because it has always been a barrier for a girl child to actually come forth and lead, because first of all, we have had issues of patriarchy in Africa. We have had issues of our genderized roles in our different societies, where people, or rather the other gender, does not find it necessary for women to attend schools or be in the overall decision making. So now that things are changing gradually, we see change. We see a lot of women in STEM industries. We see a lot of women being prime ministers. We see a lot of women being ministers. We see a lot of women being CEOs in different sectors. So it's very, very much promising. We could tell that in the next few years, we will have a lot of women participating, and will definitely bridge the gap. So yes, thank you.
Okay, great, Diana. Thank you for that parting shot. I do see that we have Natasha back. I don't know if you're able to try and speak, Natasha. You could probably leave your camera off. Sometimes that helps. when the internet is being the way it's being right now. So if you can try and just speak with your camera off and we can see if we can hear you, please share with us like a short parting shot, what you hope for, what you hope to see as we continue to work towards a future where women can really take up more and more space in entrepreneurship, in politics, in all of these different spaces. Okay, unfortunately, we've lost her again. Ah, this internet. But I'm glad that, okay, we're going to try one more time because I think we got her back. Natasha, if you can hear me, please say something. We want to give you an opportunity to share your parting thought, your parting shots.
Come to the kitchen to.
Oh dear. Sorry, happens to all of us. But please go ahead and share with us your parting thoughts and what you'd like to see as we move forward in trying to as we move forward in trying to nurture young women to become leaders and just see more women taking up spaces in different fields. Oh no, we can't hear you. I'm so sorry. I don't know. The internet is not collaborating with us today. We can't quite hear you. It keeps breaking and breaking up. But maybe you could also type something in the comment section for now, because this internet is not allowing us to do what we need to do. Okay, all right. I think we lost her again, and we might have to bow out and allow and just allow that the internet is just not yeah, all right. I don't know. I don't think we're going to be able to get her back. But thank you so much once again, ladies, the fellows of the Lead Her Fellowship, the very first cohort. It has been our absolute privilege to have you join us, and you will be seeing the Lead Her Fellowship a lot more often on Unplugged every now and then, as they, for the duration of the fellowship for the next maybe couple of months. So definitely look out for that if conversations like this are something that you would really like to be a part of. So on that note, I think I don't see any questions. I was hoping to get some questions from you guys in the audience, but I don't see any questions or comments. But thank you so much for joining us once again. Aish, this episode has been ruled by Lesotho. I see the flag everywhere in the comments. So shout out to you guys. Thank you for joining us this evening. We really appreciate the love, and we hope that you'll join us every single week. Sometimes we're here. We alternate. We are here sometimes, and then other days we are on Twitter Spaces. And we'd like to sort of alternate that so that we can engage with a lot more people on different platforms. But yeah, definitely follow us as well. Ask my colleague Mafunda to send our different social media links so you can follow us and also follow the Lead Her Fellowship on Twitter, so you can just keep updated on everything that's happening. Let me just say the summit is coming up in December. Okay, just keep your eyes peeled. We definitely want all of you to be a part of that as we work our way. I mean, now we're on the journey. We're on the journey to the YouLead Summit 2022, which is our biggest event every single year. It is a convening of young Africans from all over the continent. And you know what? I'm not going to give too much away. Follow us and keep in the loop about what's happening there. I am going to end the stream with I'm going to show you a little clip from our Gender Equality Forum, just in case you weren't with us at the beginning. You might want to see that, and also our peace song from our recently concluded Kenya Ya Amani campaign. so that you can just share, so you can just enjoy some of that. I also get to know a little bit about the Gender Equality Forum, which features every single year in our summit. So thank you once again for joining us, everybody. We really enjoyed having you, and especially our guests from the LEADER Fellowship. Once again, we appreciate you. And all right, let me just read this very quickly. Natasha had something to say. She's typed it for me because the internet is playing games. She says she'd like to see a change in that government institutions should provide financial grants and technical support to female entrepreneurs, because if female success becomes a norm, a pattern can be developed that draws more leaders into the system. Amen to that. Okay, can I get an amen in the comments? All right, so let me go ahead and close this up. Thank you once again for joining us, guys. We appreciate you. Please stick around and watch these couple of videos that I'm going to share with you, and we will see you next week on Africa Unplugged. My name is Fiona Kemijisha, and I have been your moderator this evening. Have a great evening, afternoon, morning, depending on where you are. Thanks once again, and bye-bye.
Honorable Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa, distinguished East African leaders, ladies and gentlemen, our dear youth, good afternoon. It's impossible to create a better world without bettering the lot of women. The world cannot be a better place if women's conditions are not better in it. Wrote Tajuddin Abdul Rahim, and may his soul rest in peace. While his words were penned in 2006, they still resonate now despite our country's advances of the past 15 years in granting women equal status, equal opportunities, and equal protection under the law. Perhaps the greatest indicator of how much further our fight must take us is the fact that discussions on female equality are still being held, and justifiably so, and still in view of the cultivation and employment of female potential that must be achieved to reach our 2063 development goals. Greater efforts must be invested.
Tunahitaji kujituma, kujitoa, uadilifu, uaminifu ili kulijenga taifa aminifu, na hasa vijana mnaposhiriki kwenye matukio mbalimbali ya uzalishaji mali, wale wazee wenye umri wa kati waendelee kuwa na matumaini makubwa na vijana